Happy Death Day is a 2017 horror, comedy, fantasy, romance movie. It's complicated. The film centers around a mean-spirited young college woman named Tree. 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 The whole movie, I thought people were just slurring Trini. Nope, IMDb says she's Tree. I don't know if there's some sort of Mother Darren Aronofsky Earth allegory meant to be read into this film, or maybe her name is Trini and it's just a nickname. Anyway, Tree is a mean-spirited college girl who wakes up in a boy's dorm room, hungover, pantsless, and not able to remember how she got there. She is dismissive toward a polite young man named Carter, scowls beneath running eyeliner at all the happy students in the quad, gets uppity in the presence of her sorority sisters, and is distant toward her father and roommate, both whom just want to wish her a happy birthday. It's a slasher movie. She's gotta go. And go she does. After walking by herself through an abandoned school tunnel where Biff just lost the Sporks almanac, she is murdered by a doofy baby in a hoodie. However, what would have been the opening scene of any other masked killer flick is thrown for a loop as Tree wakes up back in Carter's dorm room, discovering that she is stuck reliving the same day over and over, being murdered over and over. Her only chance of breaking the cycle is to uncover the identity of her murderer. Happy Death Day is not the movie I was expecting it to be. Admittedly, the first time I saw the movie's trailer in the theater, I was completely caught off guard by the delightful baby mask and started crying, laughing in the theater every time it popped up behind Tree. It just looks so happy and playful, completely contradicting the suspenseful tone. I was giddy. I had acclimated, quote unquote, to the choice just in time for my viewing, but I still giggled a little bit throughout the film. That said, I believe the marketing for Happy Death Day was meaning to advertise a tense slasher thriller with some comedic moments due to the Groundhog Day time loop concept. Though it starts that way, the movie slowly confesses that it has only mild interest in playing with horror tropes or alternate realities. Those aspects are just edgy sprinkles on what's ultimately a lighthearted teen romance cupcake. Teen is in the demographic. Some spoilers for Acts 1 and 2 follow. Now, since I enjoy romantic comedies, I didn't mind the bait and switch. I'm sure many dates that are dragged to see Happy Death Day by their horror friends will come out pleasantly surprised. It is a horror movie for audiences that don't usually enjoy horror movies, calculated to give just the right amount of mild thrill without being too scary, just enough laughs without becoming a comedy, and just enough character background without boring the general audience. Indeed, the extent to which Happy Death Day explores its time loop concept is mostly relegated to one montage sequence set to upbeat pop music, wherein the protagonist becomes amusingly jaded. She's practically rolling her eyes with a "here we go again" attitude as she's constantly murdered. At one point, Tree is disguised in camouflage makeup in an army helmet with binoculars. The whole sequence feels like something more at home in the Pitch Perfect series. Another Universal IP. Maybe this was intentional. This will be a delightful surprise for some and raise the eyebrows of others. With regard to Happy Death Day's concept, I must reference the movie Groundhog Days, starring Bill Murray as a prima donna weatherman reliving the same day in a simple town. Its protagonist, Phil Connors, actually indulges in the realities of his situation, using the time loop to live out fantasies and push the boundaries of his mortality. He robs a security truck, manipulates women into having sex with him, takes a piano, leaps off buildings, and goes for a joyride with the groundhog himself. Groundhog Day took full advantage of and explored the positive and negative aspects of being stuck in a single-day time loop. By comparison, Happy Death Day is fairly unimaginative. Besides the aforementioned playful montage, Tree does not drastically divert from her set path. While Phil Connors is stuck in Punxsutawney due to a freak blizzard, Tree could presumably leave her college campus at any time. Why doesn't she hop a few flights and see the world? What are the rules? Does the day reset only if she's killed? Is there a fallback time? Could she go globetrotting, live a full life undercover until old age, then kill herself to wake up in her young college body again? Will finding out who her killer is actually break the day cycle, or is she doomed to repeat her death day going forward? That could be truly horrific. Reliving being an elderly woman on your deathbed for all eternity? These are fun questions. Why does the movie not want to answer them? Well, to be fair, the filmmakers add a possible solution later on for a few of these questions, but it's not specific enough to provide the tension I believe it intended to. Scooby-Doo and Kevin McAllister would be ashamed of Tree. She never uses her knowledge of the killer's whereabouts to set up an elaborate trap with subsequent unmasking. Instead, Tree's actions would actually make her seem like an accomplice, or worse in real life. Furthermore, the day loop concept actually proves to be a hindrance for the movie. This is a slasher movie in which no one is in any danger of permanent death. There's no suspense. The movie paces out scenes as though there is tension, even after the pop song montage, but there is none beyond the immediate moment. Instead of seeing a group of college kids meeting grisly and serious ends, we watch the same woman die in different scenarios and then respawn, like a video game. At one point, I was worried that the day may not reset after something bad happened. And then a flashback appeared on the screen to remind me of what I was already worried about. And then Tree says, wait, if I don't reset, this will be permanent. Did test audiences really not get it? It's a true testament to Jessica Rothe as Tree that she was able to make me forget this. A relatively unknown actress, she carries this film. Jessica plays a convincing mean girl, terrified victim, sweet love interest, and at times a slightly under-the-top goofball. She doesn't go full Jim Carrey, but I would have been pleased if she had. Her supporting cast is made up of a bunch of charming unknowns as well, and they create memorable, charismatic daily occurrences, led by Israel Broussard as Carter, a stereotypical beta male horror fan, judging by his They Live poster. He believes Tree's predicament. Remember that romance I mentioned? Indeed. Happy Death Day will mostly be appreciated for its mystery, comedy, and romance. The mystery, though, like the time loop, is mostly limited to that one damn montage sequence. There are hints here and there with red herrings, but the question of who the killer is and what Tree's friends' motives could be is never delved into. An opportunity is lost for Tree to spend one day getting to know each of her friends and how they perceive her. You know, to help Tree grow as a character. Is that really what you think of me? Conversation or two later, and maybe Tree will start to think that she deserves to die too. Instead, Tree comes to no realization in this movie. She just kinda knew she was a bad person all along, sadly. There was a 10-minute or so stretch of true tension for me because I worried that the mystery would be completely irrelevant. Thankfully not, but it was still a brief slog. The only other time I was distracted by the pacing was Tree's second day. It took her a long time to grasp what was going on and be appropriately freaked out. We rushed through her waking up in the dorm room, a very important initial reaction, and she just gives a few suspicious glances without questioning Carter. I know you don't want to retread too much ground, but nailing the second day reaction is important to me in these kinds of movies, and it wasn't presented well. Tree doesn't seem to fully understand the situation till the evening, despite everybody going through the same motions. Okay, so the mystery as well as the time loop concept are both lukewarm in this movie. Comedy and charm are Happy Death Day's biggest strengths. Innocuous and silly jump scares, devil-may-care attitudes dumbfounding others, cheesy one-liners, amusing and clean kills, and Carter making you want to say, aww. It's one of the sweeter, neater horror films out there. Toward the end, it becomes as sentimental as a Hallmark film. But it was previously too preoccupied with not being a slasher, fantasy, mystery film to properly set up relationships like a Hallmark movie does. Sheesh! Happy Death Day is not a great movie. It dabbles shallowly in many genres. Horror fans may be disappointed, or they might be pleased to have a gateway movie for their significant others. What little mystery that is there has an interesting, though questionable conclusion. There is good humor. Special shout out to Nick's Pleasure Room and that unfortunate nurse for inappropriate laughs. And it has a sappy message and romance. It's an 80s and early 90s pastiche, complete with a 16 Candles homage. Happy Death Day is ultimately held together by competent direction and charming performances from fresh faces. I give Happy Death Day a mild recommendation. A 3 out of 5.